Greenvale General Hospital is down the road by the lake. It's too far to walk. Come on, get in the car.
If I'm riding in a car, George, I prefer to be the driver. Can you provide a car for me?
What are you talking about? You don't even know how to get there.
Which is another good reason for me to drive, George. I need to learn my way around town.
Oh, man. Very well. Then I'll ride with you. I want to keep an eye on you.
Fair enough.
Just one thing, Agent Morgan. Your involvement in this case is limited. That means you don't have to learn your way around town.
George, we'd better get moving. The hospital closes at 2100.
Agent Morgan, get us there quickly, but drive within the speed limit. Just because you have a badge doesn't mean you can drive like a maniac.
George, what are you, his mother?
We just need to get the autopsy results.
Agent York isn't accustomed to the town yet. Give him a little slack. Well then, Agent York, let's get going.
Sure, sounds good.
Agent Morgan, I can't help noticing you prefer to work alone.
Most of the time, yes.
Don't you get lonely, flying all over the country alone?
I must say I've never felt lonely.
Are you married?
Unfortunately, relationships and I are fleeting strangers. I don't get on very well with women. You might be surprised to hear.
That's because you're young. You notice things like that at my age. You have to treat women carefully, like a thin crystal wine glass. If you don't, they can cut scars on your face, just like yours, right?
George, is this an interrogation? I see you're a seasoned professional. But let's not talk about my scar. It was caused by a problematic woman.
Well, she got you good. Terribly good.
It'll fade away, and nobody will notice it in a week.
A week? It's not that light of a wound.
So, Emily, tell me, is there really a need for a full-time sheriff in a small town like this?
I'm sure it is small to your city eyes, but any gathering of people leads to all kinds of problems. Fights, runaways, stray pets.
You're too fixated on violent crimes. Our job is to guide the people along the correct path, first and foremost. That's what I consider to be my duty as the Sheriff of Greenvale.
Zach, there he is, the monarch, in all his glory. Which makes me glad that I wasn't born here.
Did you say something, Agent Morgan?
No, nothing, George. I was just reflecting on a little history.
Well, we're in the middle of a homicide investigation. Keep your mind on the matter at hand.
Okay, which right now is driving.
Well, we're in the middle of a homicide investigation. Keep your mind on the matter at hand.
He's right, Agent York. You still don't know your way around. Concentrate on driving us to the hospital.
That's a pretty big hospital. I guess they wanted to be ready for town-wide food poisoning?
No. It's another leftover from the town's prosperous slumber days. Hard to imagine now, though, isn't it?
My mother always talked about how energetic this town used to be. Almost like a gold rush, she used to say.
Impressive.
But the hotter the fever, the faster it cools. And so now there's hardly anyone left to use this place.
It pains me to watch my hometown lose so many citizens. Beyond your understanding, I'm sure.
Yes, I'm sorry to say that it is.
Indeed. That's why this case is our problem. There really isn't any need for you to get too involved.
Hi, Fiona.
Hello, Agent York.
We've come for the results of the autopsy. Is Usha around?
Hello, Sheriff.
I think Dr. Johnson is in the computer room.
What's he doing?
I don't know. He never discusses his work with me. You'll just have to ask him yourself.
Thanks. We'll go find him.
You're reading again today.
Yeah, I've become fond of mysteries recently. The doctor is always telling me to read some dry old medical journal. It's not really fair because he only reads chess magazines himself, so I cover them up like this to keep him off my back.
I can tell you're working hard then.
But I really like that about the doctor, to tell the truth.
Fiona?
Oh, I'm sorry. I just got a little...
Don't worry. Such feelings are nothing to be ashamed about. I hope things work out for you.
Thank you, Agent York. We couldn't find him.
Fiona needs to check her information.
No, I don't think so. Does the doctor like playing games by any chance?
What do you mean?
There's a message on the computer, and a card key already set in place. The king passes the rook and meets the bishop. The knight takes a pawn along for the queen.
What does that all mean?
It's a simple puzzle.
Zach, let's take him up on his challenge. You can do this, right?
The doctor awaits below with the deceased.
Another code? But there's nowhere to insert a password.
More games. I'm going to get Fiona to call Usha up here right now.
No need, George. The message appeared with the card key. It's telling us where to use it.
This is not the time to be joking around, Agent Morgan.
Dr. Usha is below with the deceased, with Anna. Below being underground, I take it. Simple. Simple. Then it's time to meet the mischievous architect of this little game.
Usha, sorry to keep you waiting.
Ah, you made it. Let's get started, shall we?
This is Agent Morgan from the FBI.
Nice to meet you. I'm Usha Johnson, the doctor in this hospital.
FBI Special Agent Francis York Morgan. Please call me York. Everyone calls me that.
Very well, Agent York.
Are you a forensic practitioner?
Let's just say I've dealt with corpses before.
That battle of wits, by the way. Did you create that yourself?
I just wanted to see if our FBI agent could handle the task.
I see. Well, it was pretty fun.
Oh, I'm glad you liked it.
We don't have much time. We need those autopsy results.
Next time, try challenging us without obstructing an investigation. You've angered the monarch.
From the onset of rigor mortis, the stiffening of the muscles, the time of death is estimated to be between 20 and 2200 hours. That's still quite early for such a crime to take place. Note that there are 2 exterior wounds, pressure marks around the neck, and a long cut running from chest to abdomen. Blood marks on her right hand tell us she was burned something round. Her skull is also fractured, but that is unrelated to the cause of death. It probably happened to her after she was killed. Now, I first thought death by suffocation, due to the marks on her neck. But after further investigation, I now have a different conclusion. The direct cause of death was loss of blood from the wound.
Which means...
She was cut up while she was still alive.
Yes, a sharp knife was used. It was inserted beneath the sternum and then quickly sliced downwards. The excessive loss of blood from her internal organs is what actually killed her. Her nails are clean, and with no skin cells from the attacker. She also doesn't appear to have been bound nor badly beaten. She was apparently killed without resistance. The most tragic thing, however, was that she was unable to speak her story to anyone who could hear her cries.
The perpetrator cut out Anna's tongue.
Well, I believe she was drugged first to phase her consciousness, and then the killer killed her. Now, the killer most likely has a deep, traumatized past concerning women. He probably cannot converse with them normally. Cutting out the tongue suggests a very lonely individual. Either that or a truly hardcore sadist. He must get off on watching women suffer, especially when they can't answer back. Now, he watched as the blood pumped from her body, as she gradually grew cold. A case in Seattle in 1985 with much like...
Usher, please, limit your report to your findings as a doctor. Criminal profiling is my job. You're wrong, also. Anna died fully, deeply, painfully aware of what was happening to her.
But,
Tell me, what time did it stop raining on the night Anna was killed?
Just before I went to bed, right after the movie on TV ended, so around 1 a.m.
What movie was it?
An American Werewolf in London.
Directed by John Landis, 1981. So the rain stopped, accompanied by the ending song, Blue Moon. George, would you mind if I examined Anna myself?
What more do you hope to find?
I'm sure I mentioned that I have a personal interest in cases like these. From her lack of resistance, I'd say that Anna's injuries happened very quickly. Unable to speak, she was then left to cry herself to death.
Zach, it's all starting to come together.
The perpetrator stayed with her for at least 2 hours until it stopped raining. At the estimated time of her death, it was still raining, but you can still see tear marks on her cheeks. That means she was killed under a roof somewhere. She was then carried into the woods after it stopped raining.
There's one other thing. Her tongue was removed with a very blunt knife. In fact, it's more likely it was simply chopped off.
Asha, are you a passionate man?
Well, not particularly, but I am man enough should the moment call for it.
George, how about you?
I'm very passionate. Yes. Especially when it comes to women. But I don't see what that has to do with anything.
George, the perpetrator, is just like you. He's passionate about women. He's a passionate kisser. This was a kiss of death.
Ah, the perpetrator. Bit off Anna's tongue.
We'll never get a dental print from a wound like this. But this is still a big lead.
Jackpot, Zach. A shame, but our old-time all-American sightseeing tour just came to an end.
This case is now under the jurisdiction of the FBI. I'm assuming command. I'll need you to assist me in the investigation.
What in the hell do you mean, Agent Morgan? I know I said I was passionate, but you can't think I did this.
That's not why I'm assuming command, George. You're a suspect just as much as every other passionate man on Earth. Let me show you something. There you go. Amazing, huh? I'm sure you have a lot of questions, but most of the details are top secret. George, Emily, we should be going. No need to stay here any longer.
Okay. I have to sign the release. Just give me a moment.
Very well. I'll go on ahead. I can't take it any longer down here. Bishop takes queen. His rook takes your queen. Then your knight takes rook. And checkmate.
Huh?
My first victory in the Grandmaster ranking.
Zach, they're here.
Here! Over here!
Agent Morgan, if you're so desperate, then why not smoke two at once?
Who's that old man?
That's Harry. Harry Stewart. One of the bigger problems around here. His father started up the lumber trade and founded this town. As I'm sure you can see, always dressed like that, never speaking to the townsfolk. And just FYI, he owns almost the entire town. Not that that makes any difference. So long as I'm around, he won't be getting away with any funny business.
Mr. Francis York Morgan, haste won't lead you to what you seek. Keep your eyes focused on your footing as we speak. So says Mr. Stewart.
Nice to meet you, too. How did you know my name?
Mr. Francis York Morgan, information desires you, just as you desire information too. So says Mr. Stewart.
Harry, stop trying to get in our way. Keep this up, and even you'll have to answer to the law.
Mr. Francis York Morgan, with each rain our town goes mad. To our disdain, unpreventable, so sad. So says Mr. Stewart.
Thanks for the warning.
Then we shall depart, Mr. Francis York Morgan.
That's how he always is. Always spouting that nonsense. Don't give it any thought. It's all gibberish.
Emily here. Uh-huh. Oh. Okay, thank you, Thomas. Agent York, we've contacted the first witnesses to the crime scene. You can interview them where they found the dead body.
Excellent. I was just about to ask if you could take me there.